let's just go forward a little bit here. 2021. So now all the planets are the daylight increasing side. They're all on the side where you're trying to be more free, trying to be more independent, but most of the governments are trying to stop people from being more free. Line into the system. Be content with your freedom inside this context. But the next big shift, there's, okay, now 22. So 2020 is one big shift because it's got that big conjunction. But when we get to 23, you're starting to see the next big phase. Saturn just moves into Pisces. Uranus is about to go into, and Pluto's about to go into Aquarius, and Neptune's hovering. So we're going to go 23, into 23. It's really 24. Pluto goes into Aquarius, the beginning of 24. But then Neptune's going to go in Pisces. Uranus is in Taurus. Like, it's not stable finances. It would be if you just had independent finances, but when the whole system's going against trying to maintain the old system, it's more the old system is there trying to retain it, it's repressive, and people are growing out of it and aren't going to be so concerned about that. You know, so by the time every video has been made and everybody's watched everything on TikTok or whatever, and they've got everything going on and they've lived in that exciting world, when you try and walk around and just walk across a park or go someplace, suddenly a lot of natural freedoms are gone. You know, and but the Pluto in Aquarius has me. It's been a concern for me for a long time, that switch, because that's a 20-year switch. It's the knowledge the computers are going to be used to power to do things. In some ways, that could be really great, but the justifying of this is great because it's helping everybody doesn't necessarily solve somebody in a leper colony in India or somebody that's starving in Africa or somebody that's in an isolated place. It's not necessarily solving those. It's going to be run by gangs and bullies trying to maintain their cities. You know, like,
I see an increasing push for science to become what I would consider to be the next world religion.
it is.
Yes.
No, it is
And
now the major.
increasingly, people will say, "Oh, science has proven da 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 da."
Yeah. No. It's won the battle against the religions, against the other. The religions are going to have to go underground and be more privately maintained during this.
We need science to get us out of the problems that science
Yes,
gets
but
into.
up to a point. But the idea of it controlling, it's made every religion look fanatical. Anything emotional or rational looks crazy and fanatical out of context. And the kids are growing up with their computers, videos, and then a sense of atheism. They got a really narrow framework that's not going to hold emotional heartbreaks or things. They're not going to be able to deal with things like that. You know, so they'll have to. It's life, but it's a challenge. We're certainly going through a challenging time where I think freedoms will be idealized, but they'll be in strong context.
Now, all the other planets are moving into the warmer signs, though. So
Yep, the IME independent science, they're building at 24, 25, by 26, 25, or is it here? June 25, Neptune goes into Aries with Saturn just following it. So, and only Pluto will be left in the Wee signs. There's an essential battle here of people wanting to fight against the system. Like, you really could see this as Big Brother being the Pluto. Maybe Big Sister might be a better word, but Big Brother, Big
Is it not
Sister.
going to be resolved in the next election in the U.S.?
I had an insight from Trump. Trump's the Gemini. So is Xi is a Gemini in China. The Pope is a Gemini. You have Geminis running the world right now. And Geminis are great with their ideas, but they're very weak on their social conscience. It's not they don't have their social conscience. It's just it's in politics. It plays out not well for Geminis because they've got an idea. This is a great idea. We'll do it. Anyone is they're nonsense. How could they dare have that idea? How could they go against it? You know, and it's. I mean, we got Trump in China. Xi's turned China into a capitalistic country. where there's money and people are doing things and living, and a lot of fast-moving things are going forward. But it doesn't include everything. Like it is. I don't know enough about it, but I like a lot of things in China. I have been there. It's very modern. It's very upscale and up-tempo.
It's also very corrupt. So what people are learning when they grow up in China is bribing is normal, bribing is good, because that's how you do business and get on with your life. So
India
they're
too.
learning
India too. Yeah.
unethical values, and that's the scary part.
Yeah. So trying to enforce a standard. It's hard to have a team when there's not a team. You know, this is the puzzle. This is what I see from the chart. I hope it's not working out like that.
But what do you think about Saturn being in Pisces? Is that going to help?
Saturn and Neptune, Pisces. Weak governments, weak authority. Confusion around disciplines and authority. It's not the strongest. It's stricter and stronger in Capricorn. Saturn at least rules Capricorn.
But you don't think spirituality is going to grow, like, as a result?
Astrology will always have its people that are interested in it. We light
But it's
up.
not going to be like all over the world.
Everyone said every generation thinks it's all over the world.
I think so too. It's really been,
But it's been suppressed,
Yeah.
you know?
it has been suppressed, but now it's coming, like everybody people are becoming more spiritual.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And a lot.
it's there, but you still have the science versus that can't be real, that can't be true. Like if you went like with heliocentric astrology, to find the nodes, you need to know the equator, where the equator crosses the ecliptic. When you go and look up the planets, you're going to see the apsides, you're going to see the nodes. You're not going to. They don't tell you the equator. They tell you the inclination, but they don't tell you the point that it inclines on. It's not given in any of the books, not Wikipedia, not any. They don't give that information out. You have to find it by seeing. In a few books, they give you the position of the north pole of each planet, and from there you can determine where the equinoxes are. It takes a bit of calculation, but it's not given out normally. And anything that's astrological or non-astrological, it's really biased. Like trying to get coordinate systems changed from longitude and latitude to right ascension and declination, or from right ascension and declination back to longitude and latitude. You have to go out of your way to find the things that will actually do those things. Yep.
Well, I know two spiritual organizations, Happy Science, they originated in Japan, and they're already, so I don't know if they're advanced now because they're talking more, they're incorporating religion into science. And also Christian Science, that came from Mary Beth and Eddie,
Yeah.
and she was very spiritual.
Yep.
So are these people advanced in terms of their spirituality?
I think there's spirituality is always going on, and people tune into it at different times. Individuals tell their stories. There's always certainly masters on the planet at certain times.
Yeah.
And even in the middle of the Second World War, there were masters in Europe. There were masters in places you might not even know they were a master, but they were being there, and the war wouldn't come to their doorstep, but they'd be inspiring the people around them.
Yeah.
On how to deal with things. So it's a texture. You know, it goes one way, it's going to go back the other way. You know, like that Trump is there means there's going to be a social wave that comes in back after it. You know, like we had 10 years of Harper, and then it changed the other way. Now it's pressure building to try and put it back the other way. Like this is political things. I think the main thing is we've made decisions to go on a global connection that's gone further than you can undo.
But here's a wild card, and that is climate change.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, Pluto in Aquarius is going to be where science just says, all right, enough, we are
Yeah.
taking over.
Yeah.
And we need that. And I'm going to hate it, because I think science really misses the boat with a lot of things about human nature, and it's going to be a real
If
struggle.
science was ever responsible for the creations it made, we wouldn't have the pollution in the first place.
Exactly.
But-
So we need them to get us out of the problems that they got us into in the first place.
So this is what I'm going to get these videos onto the web, but at least you'll be able to go through it and walk through them and study them at your own speed, or look at them to see it, because these are all volatile opinions. You know, I try to hold on. It's enough to see people trying to get to their soul and evolving to get to their heart, in spite of whatever madness is out there. You know, and it's hard to know if a war with madness out there is any worse than a war in a marriage. You know, it's just not. But like life has its separative things it gives us, and if we can catch the unity in it, we win. but that doesn't mean it changes the way the world is. You know, and so we come along 2025. So by the time you get to 2025, things will stabilize. You know, it's already tied. Pluto's the only one that's out there, and it's going to sit that way for a number of years. So there's the big changes of 2020 and 23, 24, 25 into 24, 25 is the big one. By then, the world path is somewhat fixed. We'll see where things are. If the economy is going to crash, it's going to crash. If countries are going to take control, we'll see what's in control. You know, like Hong Kong's an interesting dilemma right now. It never was. It always was part of Canada. Just China. It was only leased to England for 99 years. In the same way that apartment builders, big high-rise builders in China, they get a lease for 99 years. They build the high-rise and they sell it like condos. Same thing, but it's still owned by the government. After 99 years, a new agreement has to come in. So, but in the process, it got really pro-Western, the South. So since 1970, like I studied Tai Chi, and I was always Cantonese teachers before the 70s. But by the time you get into the 80s or 90s, all of a sudden there's way more Mandarin teachers than Cantonese teachers in that shift. China and India, the two big, they're the main parts of the world, right? They're the ones deciding where it goes. We're little outhouses, outports, little communities on the outside. We're the boondocks. Canada, if anything, is the reward for whoever wins the next war. You know, like this, but we're in a privileged colonial, mostly, it's changing, but it's still the colonial white attitude to things. Still, it's been running, you know, like it's changing, but it's still there too. So